All right, ladies, we don't want to waste a minute, so while we're waiting for our screen to come down so we can do the worldwide premiere, how about we just all do some breathing exercises? Everybody shut their eyes, okay, and just take a deep breath in, so I can hear you. I want to hear you take a deep breath in, and just let it out. And one more in, and really long out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, now open your eyes. Namaste. So we're waiting literally for the screen to come back down, but I'm not going to waste a minute because we have a lot to share. So can I just start? Yes. Everybody ready? All right. My name is Denise O'Brien. I'm from Hollywood, California, USA. I'm a grateful member of the Women Economic Forum and one of the inaugural members of the very first All-Ladies League group 2 years ago here in India. It was my very first time to come to India. I was invited personally by Denise O'Brien, who found me on Facebook. Wow. I spoke at that first forum on how to be your own best publicist. And my company is called Dome Consulting. Denise O'Brien, Movies and Entertainment. And today you're going to be entertained by one of our movies that we're representing, and not only representing, producing, but we do have the actors from America here to speak to you as well, which is a very big treat to hear the story behind the movie. What I'd like to do, come on in and just stand along the side. Come on in. What I'd like to do is I would like to share with you a little bit about my journey later so that you can understand the message and how important it is. But today, I'm wearing a pair of earrings. Can anybody tell me what it looks like? An angel wing. These earrings were in a home of a woman that was murdered by her boyfriend, who followed her from house to house to house. She tried to get away from her abusive boyfriend, and she bought a new house and ran away and hid from him, and he found her. And then she bought a new house and ran away, and I'm talking millions of dollars that she spent trying to get away from this man. And then he found her at the third house. And I don't need to tell you the rest, but I wear these earrings in her honor, because there are a lot of abuse victims around the world. And as I travel and I speak and I talk about my story, today is not about my story, but what it is about is the fact that every woman has a story, and every woman goes through challenges. I talk about my own background in domestic violence and the family issues that I had, and the biggest shock I get is when people in other countries go, wow, we didn't know that happens in America. We didn't know there was abuse in the USA where everything is so perfect. Well, guess what? Even in the USA, there are women and men that don't know how bad the abuse can be in the Ivy Tower of the $1 million home of the woman that lives next door, or the lady that's in the pew next to you at church, or the lady that's taking money out of the bank or dropping her kids to school. It doesn't matter where we live in this world, there is abuse, and there are challenges, and there are women that are suffering. And we have a woman today who I admire deeply, who had the courage to publicly not only tell her story, but to write it down into a movie script so that she could tell the whole world and inspire other women. That's what it's about. And my nonprofit organization is called Wings of Love International. And we talk about the fact that all of us are one-winged angels. Everybody has a broken wing. You're going to meet a goddess today who has a broken wing. I have a broken wing. But if I embrace my goddess, my sister, who has a broken wing, we each have a wing, we can fly. Right? When we embrace each other, we can fly. So let's give ourselves a hand. Because you're here today because we want to hear more about the goddess. And you can all look great and goddessy and fabulous on the outside, but on the inside, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of stress, and we're here to talk about that today. And we're here to share with you the message of hope. And by the end of today, we hope that you'll be joining us on our mission to bring the Goddess movie to the world. So I would like to just go ahead and make it the official. Jen, come on up. We, together, embracing each other with our broken wings, we are here right now to debut. This is just a little 3-minute trailer of our movie.
Yes, thank you so much, Denise, for coming and supporting me in this journey. And to everyone here that's in this room, it is an honor and a privilege to be in front of you today. I love folks, that's awesome. So I think what we're going to do to begin, if that's okay, before I tell my story and why yeah, we're going to show the movie. Is you ready?
You ready?
Yes.
Are you ready to play? Hello? Are you ready to play our movie? Okay. So I'd like for you to just sit back and take 3 minutes and 51 seconds to take a deep breath and take it all in. The Goddess movie, worldwide premiere here in Delhi, India, the Women Economic Forum 2015. Yay!
27.
Can we have a lights off? Oh, the screen is going up.
It's actually not attached to this much. What's going on? If you go fully up, then it will sustain.
The suspense is killing me. Okay.
That's just great. That's great. A little bit of action outside of the camera is okay too, right?
Let them do their job. We'll do our job.
स्क्रीन से जो लाइट आएगा ना वो ऊपर से अभी नीचे करना है उसको अभी उसको नीचे कर दो
नहीं होगा
टाइम लगेगा
until this turn into a blue we cannot turn they have to be a deep blue
Could that be a while? Should we talk while we're waiting for it to turn blue? It's going to be a while.
Broken wings and some blues.
Broken wings. Okay.
Broken wings.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Now you can start.
This does not happen in Hollywood. It really doesn't. We just open up red curtains and the screen's always there. So we wouldn't have it any other way than to do our film here. Can you get rid of the green light? Here. Can you start at the beginning?
It's not normally green either, by the way.
कनेक्शन है बाकी तो में से है फॉल्स में और भी हम सोशल मीडिया पर्सन हैं उसको मतलब ठीक करें हम सोशल मीडिया वाले टेक्निकल पीपल से बुला CM9 we need to go to CM9 CM9 से बुला
realms of world and power that we will have to sacrifice something deep within. In the instead, I see
true happiness is not out there. True happiness lies within. And I thought about this phrase. It had a ring of truth to it, but the phrase doesn't tell you where the within is, nor how to get there.
Should we repeat it again?
Ranjana, take these two glasses to support the bike. Yeah. One more?
I thought I had my dream and nothing could stop me, and I had everything that I wanted. I was invincible, right? It didn't matter. I was empty. I was drinking. I was depressed. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was going. And that sounds obvious. I just couldn't have a lot. I'll be interviewing the people in my life and in the media the way I affect them. You can share some insight into their feelings.
No, we can't really do that. That's not fair. All of us in all scripture, but if we take time and try to get on ourselves,
often we feel that if we go into realms of world and power, that we will have to sacrifice something deep within. In the instead, I see
true happiness is not out there. True happiness lies within. And I thought about this phrase. It had a ring of truth to it, but the phrase doesn't tell you where the within is, nor how to get there.
What is it? What is it that I'm meant to do? Why am I here on this earth? On my journey, stepping gods and deities, Palin, Karni, Rosa Parks, Jelliva, Freya, Lakshmi, and Mary Magdalene, each with a universal message. Truly, every religion, every man, you experience this with feeling? What's the value in that? How does it benefit the lives of others?
Wow, you really are magical. Okay, let's go.
Well, it's a dog having a challenge. Wow, let me meet my challenge. Or let me meet my resistance. Let me love my resistance.
Deep, deep self. And there's
When I go all of this repetition around love, and I just recognize I already am it.
how does one heal the heart? How does one rediscover one's dream?
All right, we finally got through it. Let's get our ABCs from God and let's get hands. Even though everybody was green, it's okay. There's something special about green goddess. Yeah, amazing of it. So we can have a light stand up, please. I'm not touching anything. You're just going to go sit over there in that chair right there. Yeah, goddess. So anybody else, feel free to just keep going in the back, and maybe you guys can move in a little so that there's a pathway for all the latecomers. This way? Yeah, that's good. That way they can all move it there. They won't have to look on the camera. So for those of you that are live streaming, thank you for being patient with our AV. We'll make sure that we drop it into our video. Anyway, again, my name is Denise O'Brien, CEO of Dome Entertainment and Consulting, founder of Wings of Love International. We spoke earlier about embracing each other. Thank you for embracing us today in our worldwide debut of the movie trailer. This is a 6-year journey for Jen with an award-winning BBC producer, Martin Dumbarton, who is also the founder of Lover, and we already have a platform where our movie will be already streaming and shown to over 40 million women, and we'll tell you more about that. So we have a great audience around the world that's excited and waiting to hear the next steps for the goddess. So let's meet the goddess herself and just a little bit of information about Jennifer. She's a producer, a writer, an actress, and an author. She's a rising star in today's world of multimedia, and in addition to being a published poet, a children's book author, and a documentary producer, she is a noted host of the television show Star Spirit for Hulu in America, where she has candid interviews with noted celebrity guests regarding their outlook on life's challenges, success, and spirituality. Among recent guests on her show was legendary American talent manager, Hollywood film agent, and producer Shep Gordon, who was the main subject in the feature documentary Supermensch, The Legend of Shep Gordon, directed by Mike Myers. She's also currently producing this docudrama Goddess and a documentary feature called Unveiling the Rose. Both of the stories are ambitious undertakings on overcoming internal and external challenges, which led Jen to travel the world to interview international celebrities from Russell Simmons to Marianne Williamson to Nobel Prize nominees and winners, some of whom you saw here. In addition to her poetry books, Amuse Yourself and Conversations with Silence, she's being prepared for publication of over 80 books, a series of 80 children's books that she has already written, with endearing animal characters that's filled with humor, heart, and compassion, teaching life lessons to young readers. Her children's books have received attention from publishers in the UK, America, Australia, and Germany. The first book in the series, Magical Dakota, Little Two Dogs, was published in 2016 and is available worldwide. She also had an opportunity to read that book to the children at the Indian Dreams Foundation, and IDF, Indian Dreams Foundation members are here today. Let's give Jen Drozek a big hand as she takes her place on the stage. Go ahead, Jen. Yeah. Well, whatever you feel comfortable. I'll stand up for a moment and I put it down.
Thank you so much, you guys, for the patience and everything to get the picture rolling for us. It really is an honor and a privilege to be here. In fact, I always been an excited. I was going through a lot of inner turmoil, and this is my first time being
which
Thank you. Okay. So I've spoken in front of children before, and I was very nervous, so you can imagine how I felt today. So I would like to just kind of take a little bit of time to introduce how I got on this for making this film. Basically, this was about 5 years ago, I was sitting at home and I was reading a book called The Goddess Shift, which is about women needing for a change in the world. And I felt broken and I didn't have a dream. I was a single mother. I had gone through numerous court systems in New York City as a single mother. I had abuse, gone through domestic violence abuse, and basically I didn't see a way out. I was in very much a lot of pain. And Martin Dumperton, my director, says, well, why don't we film this? He says, why don't we go out and meet these women and find out what they have to share? What have they gone through? And now that they are who they are, what are they still going through? And I said no. I didn't want to do it because I said I wanted to be an actress. I wasn't proud of my life. I didn't like my story. I didn't like where I was. But as soon as I said yes, as soon as I surrendered to what I thought I wanted for my life, then that's when the magic started to happen. And doors were open left and right. We've got men in our film as well. Russell Simmons, who's known in America. He's a big entrepreneur and very successful over in America. We've got a filmmaker, David Lynch. We have Marianne Williamson. A lot of amazing people have showed up for me because they understand the message. And the message is not necessarily about my story. My story as a single mother being broken, and it's about healing and reclaiming my power and my dreams. But it's much bigger than me. And as soon as I saw this, then I said, okay, who am I to tell God no? Who am I not to share and to be authentic about who I am and what I'm going through? And at first, another reason I said no was because at first I said the goddess. The goddess is a word, especially over in America, I thought people would look down on me. And they would say, oh, you're trying to be a goddess or something, or men. I thought men wouldn't show up to watch the film. And that's not what I'm trying to relay at all. In fact, I've included men because I feel that men suffer just as much as women do. And I feel it's really important to include all genders and to get away with these gender roles that we're given. So it's taken us a lot of time. I've been led blindly to 7 different countries around the world. I've met amazing women, authors of Holy Blood, Holy Grail, 5 best-selling novels on their family. I've been to Iceland, where Freya, the Nordic goddess of love, is there. Lakshmi, who you guys all know, probably over in India, appeared to me in America. I've been to Hawaii, where Haley appeared, Kuan Yin, and Jonavar, and Rosie Parks. So, what am I trying to accomplish with this film? Well, I think that there's something innately in us, whether you're a male or a female, especially mothers, if there's any mothers out in the side, single mothers, who understand how challenging it is. And also, I feel that a lot of people don't talk about it. I feel like there's a lot of suffering going on. And people show up and they're all bright and bubbly, but they don't actually share how they're feeling. And to me, this is the greatest disease that we have right now, because it's caused us to close our hearts. There's a lack of love in the world, even with men that are in power, because they think that they have to be strong. They're given guns and they're told that their strength lies in this, and to dominate, to control us women. And my message is this. Men need to hear from us women. The voice of the goddess, the voice of women, is the voice that's going to heal the men. to know that it's okay to cry, to know that it's okay to be sensitive, to know that it's okay to feel. In fact, let me share with you guys. I was in India back in February, and we were filming for the Goddess, and one of my dreams as a little girl was to help children, and I specifically wanted to help Indian children. And I had an Indian doll, and I would brush her hair, and I had met this amazing man who runs an Indian Dream Foundation, and I met him on Facebook. And his name is Puneet Afana. Did I say your name right? Puneet, give us a wave. Indian Dream Foundation, come on up. So Puneet and I became friends on Facebook, and he gave me an opportunity to fulfill one of my dreams. And that was to come and read my children's books to children there. And not only did I get to come and read to the children, I also was made aware of the women's issues with the menstrual health and hygiene, which I didn't know about. In America, we're very privileged to have this awareness and knowledge. And I remember sitting with Puneet, and I said, I want to help. I said, anything I can do to help, I want to help. And not only because I'm a female, but because I truly care about people. And I think that I think that it's important to include men, to educate men on women's cycle and little boys, because they don't understand it. I mean, if we don't even understand ourselves, what our cycle is, how are men supposed to understand? And Puneet is a man who's running this organization for girls and women and children. And I would just love to give a second round of applause to Puneet for coming all this way from all those years today. And Daisy is here in the audience with us as well. And thank you so much. And so basically, thank you guys. So basically, I've surrendered. And I've asked God to use me, to use my story, in order for me to be a reflection for all of you. And I understand that we all may be different in a cultural way from around the world. But ultimately, our issues are the same. Our suffering is the same. I have sat with African women. I've sat with the High Commissioner in Zambia the other day, and she spoke to me about her story. And I was shocked, absolutely shocked. And here's this woman in power, and she was very honest with me about what she's been through. I've spoken with Indian women here. I've spoken with Saudi Arabia women. And there's so many issues around the world that I wish my voice to be there, to be a voice for them, if they're not able to stand up for themselves. But I also am aware that there's knowledge and there's awareness, right? But what can we do as a people? We have to take action now. That's our personal responsibility, to take action. So I'm open to any questions. If anybody has any questions for me or has any ideas as to what we can do as women to make a change in the world. Is there any concerns out there with you guys that you'd like to address? Or yes.
Yeah, as you said about the menstruation problem we have in India,
Yes.
the women are just unaware of it. So you guys are doing a great job raising women issues. So if you can, do work on this, I think that'll be the biggest hit, especially in Asia. I'm not even saying India, but it's not only in our country, but it's many countries joining, like Bangladesh and other countries, where women are still facing that problem, but they don't know. They're like treated as untouchables. Nepal, Bangladesh, all these countries, they are treated as untouchables when they are during menstruation cycle period.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing a great job. You're reaching so many people. So if you do this, that'll be really moving.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I actually wanted to speak to you. So, a lot of us represent a lot of women in society. Personally, I represent women farmers, right? We work with many of them. So many times we put campaigns out there and we don't reach our hits, so many million hits, etc. And we also have crowdfunding campaigns. So what would be interesting is that you're from Los Angeles, you guys are very well connected, and you're also connected with the celebrities. So if we put our stories out there with voices of women, and we can if we design some sort of social campaigns, especially crowdfunding campaigns, and can pass it on to you, so that all you have to do is just circulate it in your network. That's all we would actually request you to do. And also some of our videos which we make with our voices of women. So it would be uh, then people just start donating to us because people come to know about us. So that's just a suggestion of how can so many women sitting in this room with such amazing initiatives who put together these campaigns, and especially with fundraising. It could be on a Kickstarter or
Sure.
something online. So
I think that's wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, would you stay in touch with us? Can we get your cards, you guys? And
Yes,
we
yes,
sit together. I would love to hear from you guys. Yes.
I'm actually Shamila. I'm from South Africa. I'm founder of the Mental Health. So I'm trying to break through into India because I think it's important that we smash the shape and break the taboo of menstruation. And we are actually global. We work in Africa, we in the Philippines, and with the Philippines, the ladies have never inserted anything. They don't even get tampons. They just now going from sanitary pads directly to menstrual pads. So I can't see why it can't be done in India. So I'm trying to make good connections in India as well. So I can get the product into the country.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, we should definitely stay in touch. I think that there's a way, and from my experience is that a lot of people are saying, oh, well, this is how it is. This is how it's always been. So how are you going to make a change? I don't know how I'm going to make a change, but I think we can all come together to make a change, right? And I think that just because our past has been this way in so many areas, in economic, politics, all kinds of areas of how women are treated, I think that we can see, from the past what's happened, but we can actually come together and our voices be heard to make a change. We need to stand up. We need to have more movement to stand up, and then go to the people that are empower to make a change. Because I think that if we could get the people in power to see us as their mother, their wife, their daughter, right? Then we have a chance. Then we have empathy. Then we have compassion. Right now, there's none. There's none. And it's very saddening to me. It's not enough for me just to heal myself and my life. Because I'm an extension of everyone around the world. And as long as there are people suffering, I will be suffering too. So when we can see that we're all connected, right? We're all connected. So we need to start opening our hearts. We need to start educating not only the women to stand up, that it's okay to stand up, right? But the men. And that's where I'll leave you with today, unless there's any other questions for me. Yes.
I would just like to say, remind you that you said we need to change the past.
Yes.
And but I would just like to add that if we want to change the past, first of all we have to understand it before we can change it.
Absolutely.
Everything from the past is not bad, and whatever rules and regulations, as they are called, or whatever you may call them, or traditions or cultures were made, I think at least in India, because I can speak only for my country because I don't know the details of others, but in Hinduism in India, which I know in detail, everything is very scientific and very eco-friendly. So there's nothing in our traditions or our culture which is non-scientific. We do everything for a very scientific reason. It's not just a blind following. So unless we understand the scientific angle of that particular tradition or a culture or a practice, we will not be able to convert it, to the contemporary period, or use it in a best way. We cannot discard it just, I think it's not wise to just discard it without understanding the total significance and the scientific impact it is making, and why this tradition came into place in the, to begin with.
I totally agree.
So we need to understand and then adapt it to our current situation. So that would be like, bringing the past, the values forward without the dogma and the other wasteful additions to it. So that would be a good.
Absolutely. And I respect everyone, no matter, I respect all cultures, all religions, and where we are, but there's just certain things that I feel that are very unfair.
Yes.
And that's where I would like to try to come in something different.
I think of myself if I was in that situation, or if my son was in that situation. Last night when I was preparing for this, I got a message from this Punjab boy that I met on a plane a couple months back coming over. And he was with his brother, and they were drinking a little bit, and they were all excited to come over, nice to come home. And there was a woman behind him, and she had threatened to go to the authorities because he said something to them. And he came up to me, and he looked like a ghost, and I said, what's wrong? And he told me that this woman was going to go, and I said, well, what's the big deal, Because in America, people can say stuff and go do that. But this other woman explained to me that in India, there are no men's rights. You're guilty until proven innocent, whereas in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. So that made me think about, wow, what if that was my son? Men also are discriminated against as well, everywhere.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's not true that rights are like that in India for men.
No?
It's not like that. It was till a particular time back, but then now the judiciary and the police take into cognizance that women are also abusing these rights.
Okay, cool.
So it's a very judicious way of looking at things now. Okay. They investigate it properly and then come to a conclusion. It's not like if a woman says this has happened to me, then it would be blindly taken like that. So it's not like that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, great. And when you talk about men and talking to them about the advantages of a new situation, it would be really a great idea to also talk to them about the disadvantages of the current situation puts in front of them or puts them in, and it's not just about the fact that they get litigated against, it's much more than that. Most men are kind of pawns in the hands of a kind of a consumerist society. They've been convinced of the idea that their sexuality is not something that they can control. And so it is that they are then sold anything under the sun in that ambit. And they can reclaim it quite easily, and that could also be a good situation for, things like trafficking, for example. So women are thrust into brothels because of this very singular misjudgment, And so I think that should be something that should be brought to their notice, to be told that they are animals in a way. It's not complimentary in any way to them at all. It's sad.
That's why I didn't get your name.
Yes. Smita.
So, I just wanted to add to what you said, and I just wanted to put things in context. So I think the entire tradition that we've inherited, which says a woman during her menstrual cycle does not go into the kitchen, does not interact with other family members, is not meant to be anywhere near the prayer areas. It comes from an era where there was no medication available for menstrual cramps, which we can have now, so our normal routine is not interrupted in the same way. Also, it was a way to get women to rest during that time. And now we have misinterpreted and misappropriated it. So what's really important is understanding the context of when these practices.
That is exactly what I had said in another session. I didn't want to.
Let me add on that. I'm a program coordinator for the government program Udita in Madhya Pradesh, and handling the menstrual cycle program from last 16-17 years. In a UNFPA also, I was in the assessment team for the usage of sanitary napkins and all. Usage of sanitary napkins is merely 3% in the rural India. Assessment I did personally on 3 states. This is what I did it on myself with my team. And both the ladies which are discussing the issues like there is a rest. I'm telling you, dear, being an Indian, being a woman, there is no rest. The life is hell in the rural India. That woman who was somehow safe in the kitchen for next 25 days, 24 days, because she has 1 or 2 hours to spend in the kitchen area. She was restricted in 5 days to not to enter in the kitchen area, and she was transported to the field area. She is fetching water, she is doing all the field work. This is no rest. This is merciless culture. Merciless culture I saw with my eyes. I am like people are grove toddler. I am a village toddler. Means I travel like anything in the deep pockets of India where the reach is not allowed. I used to take a special permit and go to those places, walk 6-7 kilometers on my feet because I want to understand this stigma and culture. Because when I fight with the very high officials of the India, I have to be with my proof, with my video clips, with my photographs. Thing are really we are now half we are quartered wing. Only a urban pocket of this thing is no. So there is nothing like this very worst condition is still prevailing.
Well, not in rural India, but in urban slums. We are working in Agra and we did research in 5 slums. More than 67% of the girls not use
Exactly.
They are part of tradition there.
Exactly.
They are the temple become their tradition because they are following their mothers. There is the issue is the poverty. We can say poverty is one factor. The second factor is mindset. They are not aware. They are not educated towards using the
afford also.
Okay, thank you so much. I love that everybody is engaging in the topic, and I'm passionate about
this. Is touching heart actually. This is touching.
We can, if everyone can give me your card. I know this man right here, and he's amazing to be a man standing up, talking about women's rights and helping women and children. I love joining you.
Love to see man is coming out in this.
I worked on women's rights from the time I was 16. I was 66. And I came from a urban family, very well to do. I chose to stop doing that and went into working with, as she pointed out, rural women and children. Now, what I discovered were two things. For any change to happen, we must change ourselves. I came from a very urbanized, anglicized home. So when I went into the village, though I sat down, I spoke to them, they respected me, but they said, you really don't know. You really don't know what you're saying. You stay with us, which you have to do. Like she said, she traveled, she picked up. Now, a era has come in our work where a lot of reports, because we work with UN, we work with INGOs, we work with NGOs, and I've been doing that for the last 30 years. I'm speaking from a platform where we need to sit and talk to the community of the women who are using. Take example, sanitary napkins. Now, sanitary napkins were introduced, and we are short of water. I want to hear more about what you're saying, but we only have 5 minutes to finish, and we need to finish our program. So I'm going to go ahead and just let's give everybody a round of applause for your participation. Okay, and let's give our goddess again a round of applause. Thank you so much, everybody. And I want to meet every single one of you afterwards if you can, or just give me your cards. Thank you. I would love to hear. And Denise O'Brien, just thank you so much for everything. I found Denise actually 2 years ago on Facebook. And she was here at the Women's Conference, and I found her, and this is, this wasn't even I never would have thought I'd be here right now. And I sought her out, and she was so kind to me. And not a lot of women in Hollywood are. I don't know if you guys know anything about Hollywood, but she was amazing. And thank you so much. So I met Harbeen and Vinay for you, and just thank you for all your support, and I'll let you finish that. Okay, thank you. So speaking of Harbeen and Vinay, I was reading. How many of you got a copy of Harbeen's book? She was giving away free yesterday, and I got one a few years ago. But I wanted to just because this all is going to tie together. I got 5 minutes here. So in her book, Creative Living, Dr. Harbeen Araujo, second paragraph. Creative living is about having creative attitudes. Equipped with them, you can turn bad moods into good ones, feel stronger within, and respond positively to all kinds of situations. Creative living is then about assuming leadership of your life and leading it to happiness. All right? And then Vinay, who did an introduction to the book, says, as I see it, your well-being is uplifted by 3 factors: your personal positive thoughts and feelings, your strong and supportive interpersonal relationships, and your ability to be in tune with your larger environment. My motive is to energize all 3 of these levels for being and well-being. And what I wanted to say about that is that If we're going to create a paradigm shift, I travel all around the world. I speak to thousands and thousands of women. I go to the smallest places where they have no shoes and the little toes are sticking out under the desk, without papers, without pens, with huts that are made out of mud, and that's where they go to school. We cannot help everyone one by one. You've been doing it for 50 years, and has it changed? Not a lot. Not a lot. You've been doing it for 20 years. You've been talking about it. The only way that we're going to get our message to the entire world is through the internet and through media. And that's what we're here to talk about right now, is that we need to come together. Some of you were talking about the farms. Yes, we want to help you with the farms. I'm Denise O'Brien. Dome Consulting is a partner to over 30 nonprofit organizations. I travel around the world and talk on topics of, obviously, domestic violence awareness, one of my passions, that everybody else needs me. Can you talk about mine? I'm the global ambassador for the Indian Dreams Foundation, Women in Hollywood, Positive Runway Global Catwalk to stop the spread of AIDS. It just goes on and on and on. Because if you have media and you have a connection, someone that can hear your message, and then you can multiply it, just like Taylor Swift, a little blonde girl, 15, 16, put her little face on YouTube and sang a great country song. Now she's the most powerful woman in the world because she has many Twitter followers. Her music is all over the world. Why? Because she took enough courage to put her little song and her little boots and her little short dress and get on and sing. And now look who she is. And that was only 10 years ago. So if we can put our goddess film out to the world, if we can enlist all of you to help us, and then we can in turn raise more funds through our films, through our projects, donating more money to causes. Our cause for this film is the Indian Dreams Foundation. You saw the children. We met the children. We love the children. We sat on the floor and we talked about tampons and periods and whatever it took. Old babies sat with us who didn't speak any English, but we got the message across about what it's like to have a loving woman in your life that will stand by your side and answer your questions and with authenticity tell you the truth, not just about your body, but about your soul, about your spirit, about your mind, and give you encouragement that you can do anything. That's what the Goddess movie is about. We need to get the message out there, and we need your help. So I have two friends in the audience that have some of our postcards. There they are. I would like for each of you to take, I brought 2,000 with me, and I do not want to bring them home because I had to pay $100 to carry them here. So will you each take a big stack? And if look for me tomorrow or the next day, seriously, we need your support. You have an opportunity to donate $1. Anything that you can donate to the cause. Find someone you know that has money and have them be a producer. We have $100,000 producer level, $10,000 producer, executive producer. We're looking for people that want to help join us in sharing a message. And we know that there are women at this conference that want to do that. So please take that home. Go to GoFundMe.com, Goddess Movie, and look at it. You can see the trailer. It will be a lot easier to see on your own computer and phone than it was here. You can see the whole trailer without the green faces. You can see a little bit more about what we're doing. You can learn more. You can certainly email us, call us. All of our information is there. And let us know about your project, because this is just the beginning of sharing what it means to have adversity in your life, to have female role models. Jen did not have a lot in her younger years, but she had them come to her in her own spiritual growth, and she saw them, and they appeared to her. And this is a true story of her life. She's sharing it publicly so that she can empower the next generation, and the next generation, and the next generation. And we need your help. So please, share the message, share the link, find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, all the places. We'll have an Instagram account. We have the Goddess Movie, which is a fan page on Facebook. Just share the message. And I know our producer, Martin Dunkerton of Love Earth, who has an amazing platform, not only for healthy organic food with over 4,000 healthy food and vegetable products that you can order in the U.S. We're currently in negotiations with some of the top level people here in India to have that same platform in India. through Unify. And then we're going to go global with that as well. So we know that all the nonprofits, all the NGOs, all the organizations that are here represented over 2,000 women, that those organizations can help to get the message out. How many of you agree with me that you can be a part of that? Yes? Okay. So I want to hear now, I'm going to pass the microphone. I want to hear which country everybody's from. Just in this room, just in this little room with 40 women, quickly finish up with which country you're from, because we know all the messages are going to be around the world. So let's just quickly just say your country. I'm just going to hold the mic real fast. India. India. India.
Canada.
South Africa. India. We got India contingent going. Okay. I can't go any farther.
Shout it out. Is it longer? Just shout it out. Just shout it out. Shout it out.
Australia.
India. India. Back and back. No country. Okay. Stand up. Where?
South Africa.
South Africa.
India.
India. Gerald. U.S.
India.
India. India. India. India.
UK and the UK. Okay, so we've got the UK covered, we've got India, we've got America, we've got Australia, Canada, I can't remember every other country, South Africa. This is just the beginning. I just want you to remember that you are a part of history. Today, right now, the last hour was just the beginning of the Goddess movement. We know it's going to go global. We know it's going to be worldwide. We know there's going to be people to fund it. But we really want you. We want the women in our lives to believe in us, to believe in our passion, to believe that you can be a one-winged angel and represent and hug on all of us to help our movie fly, to talk about the story of one broken woman who found her way in life and inspire so many others. So thank you so much for being here with us today. We'd like to take a group photo. If you could all join us up in the front. Let's give Jen a big round of applause. So could all just come on up here. We'll just have a group photo. Yes. Can we cut that yellow light? Okay, can we turn off the yellow? Can we turn that off so that it's not on faces? No yellow? Screen? Yeah? Okay. All right. Oh, you're taking it. Denise, come. I'm getting my camera.
Yeah, so.
So you have to be in the pool. Can you do mine also afterwards? But you have to stand a little farther back. Okay. Oh, who turned off the lights?
Yeah. But. Next second. अरे इससे लियोगा सुनो अरे वो नीचे
Where did the photographers go? I don't know. Take one more. Take a couple in fact. Wait.
everyone say goddess.
Goddess.
Wait, don't go anywhere yet. Can you read it? Okay, so just those are both my cameras, everybody. But don't touch the video. The video's rolling. The video's rolling. Do not touch my video camera. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna say God is. Okay, fine. So on the count of three, we're gonna say the Goddess movie rocks. Okay. And we're gonna say it a couple times. So let's practice. So we're gonna the Goddess movie rocks. 1, 2, 3. The Goddess movie rocks. Okay. So now we're gonna say it again. But this time, put your hands up and do something wild. Okay. Or like a thumbs up or a so after you say it, rock. Okay. So everybody's calm now, right? We're gonna say the Goddess movie rocks, and then like go crazy out there. Okay, ready? So quiet on the set. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. The Goddess movie rocks! Okay, we're gonna do one more time. That's gonna be a wrap. Okay, quiet on the set. Rolling. 1, 2, 3. The Goddess movie rocks! Thank you, everybody. That's a wrap. That's all I got.
Camera is right.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
What's off? Still going. Coming through.
He's right here. Yeah, you're so much time. Don't leave your belongings. I don't know. Side. We will just keep on and get back to rest here. Okay. I don't know. We'll figure out. Okay.
No, my
So that's
So there is no problem. I think just thinking
You are from Denmark.
that sounds
Yeah,
good
yeah.
to you.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yes. We talked about some moving to Denmark. Yeah, we're starting an entrepreneur house, practitioner house in Copenhagen. Ja, jag förstår danska sådär bra, men om du pratar skandinaviska. Annars var jag entreprenörer. Jag jobbar specifikt med entreprenörer på väggen, där det handlar inte så mycket om men vi gör en trefaldig praktik som alla gör. Så det är hus där vi använder
Good evening.
klara och rena, så då växer våra företag.
Can we start a new session, please? So everybody wants to stay, please. You're welcome to stay. We have to start. I would like to present the new session, which is Araujo. Is this right?
Perfectly right.
Thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate you are here. This is going to be a very experiential session. I will try to make this as dynamic as I possibly can. My aim here is to build bridges between traditional psychotherapy and spiritual tools. Just to give you a little bit of a background, I am a psychotherapist. I have a post-graduation degree in humanistic and existential counseling. But I also have been working as a tarot practitioner for over 25 years. And I have discovered that these two activities have a lot more in common than we previously thought. So I'm here really to explore the similarities and differences between these two practices because I think the way that traditional psychotherapy is being carried on is changing very rapidly. We have seen the emergence of new therapeutic tools like coaching, like holistic therapies coming up, and people are having more choice in adopting the therapeutic approach that suits them the best. And it's my role to keep up with the times because they are changing. And if we don't try to build bridges, we are going to be left behind. So, I have a few notes here. Just to give you a bit of my professional background, apart from counseling and as a psychic, I worked for over 12 years in the public sector. I live in England, UK, and I work with victims of domestic violence, mental health, homelessness, drug addiction, and I worked for over 20 years in the social care sector, and that inspired me to study counseling and psychotherapy, especially when I was in mental health, because I wanted to be better prepared to deal with meetings with psychiatrists and doctors. So I embarked on that course. And when I did my course, I became very interested in the similarities that I was seeing in the psychotherapeutic room with my therapeutic practice. And that is when I decided to go deeper into that on an academic level. So I did a research degree on that. Now, let me just have a look here. As you can see, I mean, probably most of you know that there is still a very huge stigma with psychics and people who work with spirituality. They are seen as unprofessional. And that is really hurtful because it's a very important job that we do for people. And it shouldn't really be overlooked, but it is. And I think that happens for a reason. Okay, it's because there is a lack of professional conduct on that by many psychics. So I started with a few questions here. What do you think is counseling or psychotherapy? Any of you would like to answer that for me?
In India, we look at it as generally allowing a person to share what is very deep within, which they can't talk about freely with people who they would be normally interacting with, which is causing them a lot of mental issues, and they want to unburden certain areas of their mind, which normally they can't talk about to a person who would understand and who's trained to understand the correct way.
What a beautiful way to describe, and you are absolutely right.
counseling or therapy basically is a process of exploration aiming to facilitate positive change by reflective dialogue. So the way you describe is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Anyone here has experienced therapy, counseling? Very good. Now, if any of you could describe me, what is a psychic? Has anyone here visited a psychic? Someone who reads cards or runes or crystal balls or angels? So I'm going to pass over.
I have to come closer. And for me, is the psychic someone who is channeling information and usually you might think it comes from a good source or place. What audience is doing? So for me, a psychic is someone who is channeling information, and usually I think people do think it comes from a good source or a good place. But I think there's different variation of place. So it might not always be the right place it comes from.
Thank you very much, Maria. This is another very insightful way of describing. So, what I would say is a psychic session is an attempt to get information via someone with enhanced psychic abilities or perceptive states of consciousness, or via spiritual guidance. So basically, you are asking someone who channels or who access the higher consciousness to filter that information and reflect that back to you. And that can be done in many ways. And one of the similarities that we see in psychotherapy and psychics is that they both use many approaches. We have humanistic, existential, psychodynamic, person-centered therapy. I'm just describing a few. And in psychic activities, you have people who read tarot cards, normal cards, runes, angel cards, mediumship, where they really contact their spiritual guides, psychic astrologers, numerologists. So there is a similarity that both of them have access to a different set of tools to enhance their practice. So that's one similarity. Now, the other similarities here that I would like to invite you to reflect, okay, is that both are non-judging, or at least they should be, if they are very ethical. I cannot really judge someone who comes to me in my therapeutic practice or in my psychic practice. They come and I can take them as they are. They have different approaches. It's usually done on a one-to-one level, both sitting, a chair, a table. It's used for personal insight, self-discovery, and self-development. So they have all that, but also they have a very important point in that they are similar. Both of them sit in a position of power. Because if I access a therapist, it's because they have the knowledge, the academic background, the qualifications. As you said, Maria, they are trained to offer sessions to a varied range of issues. So therefore, the therapist is someone who knows, who has the knowledge. Yeah? Some people think that they can cure, which obviously is not true. And also the psychic is in a position of power, and I would say, in my experience, sometimes even more powerful than the therapist, because there is the access to the supernatural, to the other world. So when you look to a psychic, you look to someone who's going to tell you what's going to happen in your life. Someone who has the power to predict the future. Someone who has the power to tell you what is what. That is a very powerful position, very dangerous, in my opinion. And even if you try to say that there's an equal relationship in therapy, it's not. It never will be. Because if you look for someone's services, it's because they have something that you want. Therefore, you are in the position of the seeker. So that similarity is something that I would like to explore here. So another similarity is that the therapeutic outcomes or the outcomes of both practices are also very similar. Okay? And I give you an example. Before therapy was available, the name therapy, before Freud came about with all these brilliant theories and changed the world, people used to go to a shaman, a guru, a priest, the wise woman of the forest. People used to access someone with spiritual knowledge for their problems. And sometimes they still do that. There are some communities that they don't need therapy. They access that person, that enlightened person in that position. So the outcomes are very similar. The therapeutic outcomes are very similar because they offer a one-to-one connection, facilitating self-discovery, self-development, and insight. So the outcomes will be that you have hopefully gained some valuable tools to use, whether you are visiting a psychic or having therapy with a counselor or a psychologist. Okay? So now let's have a look here very briefly on the differences that we see between the work of a psychotherapist and the work of a psychic. Anybody could give me a clue of differences between these two positions?
Psychotherapy takes more time. I think the psychic sessions could be more intensive. I think there is a difference also in that.
On the ball. That's correct. That's totally correct. And it's here. So, but there is more to that. As a therapist, I am bound by an ethical code of a regulating body. I am talking about here of therapy in Great Britain. So if anybody has a different, is in a different country with different codes, that's fine as well. Okay, but in Great Britain, I can only practice psychotherapy if I am a member of the British Association of Counseling and Psychotherapy. And I have to have insurance, and I have to attend exams every 2 years. That is called the proficiency exam. Of course, there are people who are not bound by the BACP, but I would assume they don't have many clients. because that is what it is. You have to have your registration number and abide by the British Association of Counselling and the ethical code, and you can be taken to court if you don't do that. But psychics, they are mainly bound by plain good sense, really, because you can practice as a psychic the way you like. But this is changing. This is changing. Okay? As a therapy is a professionally regulated activity, I am a professional counselor. So people see me as professional. And psychic activities are seen as non-professional. This is why some people say for entertainment purposes only. So sometimes we are seen as entertainers, really, or even wacky. Oh, yeah, you were psychic. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You know, there's that whole range of jokes that come with the territory. As a counselor, I have access to my client's details, and I have power to contact the doctor if I want to. If I feel that that client is at risk of harm or having suicidal ideation, I can do that. But as a psychic, I don't have access to the details. They call me, we arrange a reading, they come to my practice, off they go. So I don't really know who I am dealing with. Of course, I know some people may do, well, psychically we should know, but psychics are not really like, geniuses. We don't really know everything. I have a contract with my counseling client that we attend sessions at this time, at this place, and if you cancel, you will not be refunded, and so and so. But we don't have a contract in our region, not as far as I know. Now, there is one thing the good thing that's changing, because the aim here is to create bridges, to bridge that gap. So, as a counselor, I have to do a risk assessment in my client. I have to, in the first session, we assess the risk. How are you feeling? Have you ever contemplated killing yourself? Or questions of that kind. Now, the good change is that as a psychic, I have the right to refuse a reading. I remember the old days when I used to do weddings and fairs, I used to read for people who were off their head. They were drunk, probably even more than drunk. But I was there, I was paid to do the fair, the party, and I was there to read people that they could be anything. But now, I can refuse to do that if someone is under the influence of substances, or if I just feel that that person is not really ready to have a psychic reading. I can refuse. I can say, look, I don't think that's good for you. I don't think that is the right moment. I think we may reschedule that. The way that I work with the cards is I offer two kinds of bridges. I don't ask any questions from my clients. I don't need that prompt. They come for me and in the 1 hour session, I start with a generic reading, seeing where we are here now, what the challenges could be. Then I go into a very detailed past, present, and future reading on 7 areas, which are love and relationships, emotional, financial, professional, home and environment, well-being, and spiritual. And that would be past events, why things are the way they are, present situation, and future possibilities. And I always stress very carefully that I'm talking about possibilities. I am not the master of anyone's future. I don't have that power. I am just presenting you one of the thousands of possibilities that they have. And after that, I go into another reading and then I open for questions. That is the way I do. Did that answer your question? Okay. So let me have a look here. So I can also refer a client as a psychotherapist. I can refer the client to a psychiatrist, for example. I can say what you are presenting here is beyond my issue, but my competency. So I would refer you to a psychiatrist, or I would refer you to a psychologist. But as a psychic, who I can refer to? I don't know, the client just called me on the region right now, but I can. That is also changing. Because good ethical psychics, they have a list of helpline services that they can give to their clients, such as Samaritans in the UK for prevention of suicide, death advice if they have financial stresses, women's aid for women suffering any form of abuse. So psychics today, they are up in their game. And they can refer, they can say, look, I think you should access this or that. But we cannot really formally refer. But we can still refer. And in the UK, if anyone is presenting the risk of suicide, you don't need to be a psychic to get that phone and say, I know someone who is, at risk. You can do that. But you should ask permission from your client first and, express your concerns for their well-being. What I would say is never really omit help if someone needs it. Now, self-disclosure, that is a big thing, okay? Because that is an ethical consideration. As a counselor, I cannot really disclose my details, my Facebook, my pictures, or I cannot really. As a therapist, I am a blank space that the client can project whatever they want to project. But as a psychic, I have my Facebook page, and some people befriend clients. I don't do that. That's something I learned from my therapeutic practice. But you can, as a psychic, you can self-disclosure, even because most of clients come to your house, which in itself is a huge self-disclosure because they come into your space. So this is one point of contention that I would invite you to reflect. Is it a good idea that a psychic self-discloses to a client? Is this okay? It can be okay, but depends on the self-disclosure. Depends on the self-disclosure. There is a very fine line between disclosing something like, oh, I feel really hot, the weather, or that, and someone saying, my husband is very violent with me, and the psychic saying, oh yes, I had experienced that myself. It could be okay, but it's dangerous. Because you are in a position of power. And you don't know the person you are dealing with. You may have all the intuition in the world, you may have access to all the spiritual guides, but who is in front of you is a human being that you don't know. And another difference is that, as you said, is that in psychotherapy, the client usually comes for many sessions. And in a psychic reading, many times the client comes only for one session, just one on and off. So you don't really know, you only know what that person is saying to you, and that may be their perceptions. My sister doesn't like me, you know that, but maybe this is a moment of upset, a moment of projection. So you need, careful on that. Let's have a look here. So now, this is when the issues become really complex, because that is when the differences are getting bigger, okay? For example, I really invite you to bring your comments, because I don't want to be talking all the time here, but I would like you to bring your comments and your input, because this is part of my development too. I need your help to enhance my practice. This is what I'm doing, because I need your input too. For example, psychotherapy offer the client total right of privacy. This is a paramount in any psychotherapy intervention, is that the client has the right of privacy, and that confidentiality can only be broken if they are at risk. But as a psychic, you don't do that, do we? Because we ask, well, some people ask. I don't do that because of what I'm going to say. Asking for people's testimonials, asking for people's reviews, taking pictures with clients, taking pictures with celebrities. Is this okay? Is this okay? That the psychic asks the client for a testimonial? Or a psychic asks a client, let me take my picture with you, and can I put that on my website? Look, here I am with a very rich so-and-so, or I am in this party here, hey ho. So, is this okay?
No, it's not. I don't read the mind, but basically this is related to the privacy of the person, and there is a high comfort, factor in not disclosing that you are going to a psychologist or a psychotherapist. So that has to be respected at all points of time.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, and this is an area that I have clashed with many psychics over the years, because my opinion, and sometimes I can be very Latin in my temperament. I am from Brazil, so, I can get a little bit heated up in the argument, not maliciously. But I classify that as tool marketing and exploitation. Simple as that. As simple as that. If someone comes to you to a psychic reading, that privacy should be respected. Because you are in a position of power. So what I offer because people have to make a living, and there is the other side too. How can people say that you are good enough? Well, if you are good enough, you don't need people to send you. You know you are. That's as simple as that. But sometimes clients want to say what they think. That's okay too. So what I do in my case is that I do have a tarot Facebook page, which is only about tarot cards, and if they want, they can go there and put their reviews. But I never ask. Never ask. They go there and they put their reviews. Respecting a client's privacy should be paramount, and it is exploitation. It's too marketing, because the process becomes about you, not the client. What you want to say really is, look what a great psychic I am. I am reading for this famous person here. Hey, oh, I am celebrity psychic. There are no celebrity psychics, there are psychics. It's as simple as that. You don't say celebrity psychologist, do you say that? You don't say, celebrity doctor. That is tacky. You have that in television, but that is, it's unprofessional to classify people that way. So, another thing that is a point of contention here, but I think that is an interesting one, is that as a therapist, I cannot, if you are my therapeutic client, I cannot take referrals from your friends, your family, or no. I don't want to meet your mom, I don't want to meet your cousin, I don't want to meet your friend, Sally, no. So, as a therapist, I cannot take referrals from your friends. You cannot say, oh, Michelle is a great therapist, go on her. No, I can't. Because of confidentiality and conflict of interest. But as a psychic, you come to me, you like me, and you say, wow, I'm going to refer you to my friend, she's going to love you. Is that okay? That's okay. I think that is okay. And why is that? Because you are in a non-professional position. Because that doesn't offer risk to the client. Okay? Always think about the risk. Always think about the risk. If I am having therapy with a client and they matter, what is the risk? It's huge. Unless it's group therapy, that's different. Family therapy, that's different. That's another discussion. But individual therapy, that would be very dangerous. But as a psychic, okay, because it's a different service and people refer their friends to you, that's fine. Yeah? I think that's okay. So, some things are okay. Not everything is horrible. Now, a psychotherapist should be non-leading, which means that you shouldn't really be taking account or suggesting, leading, telling people what to do. This is not what a counselor is about. As you said, is a tool for facilitating self-discovery and hopefully positive change. But as a psychic, some psychics do that. They do guidance and advice. They tell you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. Is this okay? Do you think that this is okay? Any input on that?
If they've received a message directly from their source that offers advice, do they need to pass that on? They should not pass on information that is their human advice. That's not why the plan is there.
That's different because it's passing a message. It's not you personally giving them advice. Because when you pass a message, you are relating a message where the person can take it or not. But as a psychic, if you give people advice, give your husband, do this, do that, what happens is that in a way, you can take away the client's self-responsibility. Okay? It's a quick one, but the way you said is very different because you said, if I receive a message, I will relate that message. That is okay because you are not saying, I say in my car that you should do this, this, and that. You are giving a message. Don't shoot the messenger. Yeah? But it's a dangerous one to give people advice because first, you don't know them. Second, there is maybe a hidden agenda here. That is the danger when you do that. is that if you give people advice, you give them advice, and it goes really well, and that is great. Would you be taking credit for that person's achievement? Would you, that's the danger, is when you give advice to people. I personally don't do that. I can explore. Sometimes people say, okay, should I leave my job? That's an open question, inviting a leading response. So what I would say is that, okay, let's explore in the cards what happens if you leave the job and what happens if you don't leave the job. Power to you, because I would not be telling people what to do. Because if they leave the job and it goes badly, look at her, she told me to leave my job and look where I am now on the bridge. That's the worst case scenario. The good case scenario is that it goes very well, and are you in deep down, are you taking responsibility for your client's achievements? Look, I told her to change her job and she's doing very well. Of course I told her that. So this is a reflective practice. I am inviting reflection here on whose agenda is this. Again, there's nothing to say that you cannot give people advice, but the psychic work. Everybody works on a different way because there is not a serious regulating body yet that can say this because it's a spiritual practice. It's a bit different. But is this agenda serving you or the client? That's a question that we could always ask. And if the client is ready to receive that guidance and advice, because sometimes people are in a very vulnerable position. And they can project everything on you because you are in that position of I'm a psychic, I know everything. So is this okay? Did I answer your question? Is that okay?
I don't know that I have a question.
Right, so I can
my
use
opinion.
That's okay. So now, what I would like to do that I think it could be interesting, I would do an exercise, okay, a 10-minute exercise here, that I will take the table and I will do psychotherapy session. This is going to be a safe session. This is only a snapshot of psychotherapeutic practice, and I will do followed by a 10-minute psychic session. Okay? And please, Maria, you are going to be the person. So, sure. I'm just going to organize that. So basically, this is for us to reflect the differences and the similarities of both practices and what they entail. Yeah? Yes. Yeah. And it's going to be totally safe. We are not going to talk about private matters. It's just going to be a quick demonstration. So that's okay if I can have 2 chairs and a table. And if someone can just time, yes, thank you so much. Time 10 minutes so we can have that. Thank you.
No input. messy, messy attitude. Now that
Interesting. So we haven't talked about this before. She just asked you.
Okay, Maria, here we are. I know we had spoken previously on the phone, and you would like to have some counseling. Just really to give you some information about the process. I offer counseling on a weekly basis. We would have to have a contract where I would be discussing confidentiality issues, that I would be contacting a doctor if I feel that you are at risk of harm. If you don't come to a session and you don't alert me when you finish 4 hours, it's not understandable. Are you okay with that?
Can you hear without the microphone?
yes, can you? For the camera.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, Maria, how are you feeling today?
There is a lot of movement going on in this room right now.
Okay. What I am really feeling here is the distraction because of the movement. How do you cope with the distractions?
Well, that's a good question. Distractions in general. It's the opposite of focus in Buddhism.
What is it feeling when you have distraction?
So distraction is more, it takes my attention in this dissipated mood. And so it becomes just lack of focus. So it just takes my attention outwards in different directions.
And what means to you to be out of focus?
Out of focus. Well, that's a problem with it because you don't have focus in your life. Like you said, everything, right?
Right, so this is something that we can work on because your need for focus may reveal the need for something else. Because if you feel distressed when you don't have focus, that may be an underlying reason for that I'm sure we can explore in our next session. Thank you, Maria, and I see you next week.
So now we are going to a 5-minute psychic session because I want to finish this in time and I want the process to be almost 20 minutes. Okay. Right. So Maria, how are you? The weather is lovely.
Yeah, it is. It's super fun. I mean, there's a lot of fun out there.
It is. Lovely. Oh, I love that.
I love it here.
Such a privilege.
Yeah, it is. Very much.
Okay, so Maria, we are going to have a very brief reading here, okay? And
I want to have a message.
of course you can. Let's have a look. Let's go for it. Okay. Of course, should worry.
Well,
Please shuffle with us, just a little, because that is when we connect.
they pass from my energy, your
Sometimes this doesn't like, and you have to say,
oh, but that's their own way of working. That is okay. So Maria, I want you now to cut the cards in two. Do you choose one or two? Okay. As I said, it is just a snapshot. Yeah. Like playing music. Okay, Maria, first of all, what I am sensing is that this is a period of reassessment. I am sensing across professionally, financially, two different paths coming here that we have to evaluate your choice if you should go this way or that way. Okay? Why is that? Because this is you balancing your possibilities, and there is an element of duality. You can do scales, the money, the material, the scale. So I would say that there will be professional decisions for you. Okay, changes as well. You could be evaluating geographical changes. This could be a work change, a home change. There is something here that involves movements going backwards and forwards. What I am sensing here from your past, Maria, there was a period of endings. Okay, the end of the leader. You ending something. You coming to the end of a long period here. So you are in a period of transition now that you are starting something new, and this is the crossroad. There is a sense of you really not being much of a teamwork. You are more of a leader, okay? It must be hard for you to work with many people in a teamwork, but you come out very much leader, you are also. I would say that emotionally here you are in a stage of development, finding what you want, what you really want. There is your vulnerable, perhaps your vulnerable area here would be your back in your spine, and you should be careful with that. If possible, I'm not saying there is a problem, but this could be a problem in the future. Now, what I am saying is a lot of spiritual activity. Because you have the moon, dreams, premonitions, feelings of your intuition being very high, but also in questioning people's reasons, their motivations, what they are about, people's loyalties. I would say that there is a possibility of a conflict with other people here, or in situations, okay, where you feel lack of trust, lack of transparency, or betrayal. I think you will address that very successfully, and you will move on. Because there is a breakdown of structures here where you leave a structure and you follow your own. You will be working by yourself and working on your own. I know you have been doing that, but I am saying this evolving towards another level now. Okay? I see also travel, 2 or 3 different groups that are coming. I think it's working. Okay, so this is a very brief snapshot. Are you happy with that? Okay, that makes sense to you? Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Maria. Now we can just leave Maria here in the hot seat because I wanted to ask her a few questions, which is part of this exercise. So, Maria, one thing that I would like you to inform us, how did you feel in the psychotherapy, in the psychic sessions?
In the first session, I felt a bit frustration. It was taking time. It felt like an old school of something that I left a long time ago, and maybe that caused also lack of energy and distraction was a response to the feeling of frustration.
What were your feelings about this psychic session?
And that was fun. It was fun. It was light energy. It was there were curiosity possibilities, and I'm amazed how much truth. Like I'm signing under everything that you were saying there. So it was the accuracy was really great.
So what I am hearing from you is that the psychotherapy was very cold and clinical, old school, and the psychic was more human, fun, there was more engagement.
Well, and it's interesting because what came up in your card is the same thing I'm representing when it comes to the view of science, the view of business, and bringing on the feminine way of living. So it became very clear to me how the psychotherapeutic session was something like an old school, something I would like to choose this. Yes.
Thank you, Maria. Please let's give her a round of applause. Very brave to expose herself here, but obviously I tried to make this as safe as I possibly could. Yeah? But Maria is totally right. Psychotherapy is clinical, is cold, and it is meant to make you uncomfortable. That is the point of psychotherapy, is to press that button, to release that button. And tarot is fun, isn't it? We started by talking about the weather, it's great, so it's fun. So what I would like to say, because we are obviously at the end of the session, is that none of them can offer miracles, but both can be very insightful. None of them have all the answers, but both can help you to find them. Yeah? It's just to find a balance. And what I wanted to explore here really was the similarities and the differences. And we are going to build those bridges. It has started already. I hear that Anna is very proactive in giving a more professional polish to tarot readers in Sweden. Is a great initiative because that's what we need. We need to step our game and be more professional. Yeah? In psychotherapy, the old psychotherapeutic style is slowly dying. People are not responding to the same old, same old. It has to be recycled, refreshed.
Can I say?
Sure.
So here's how I'm seeing it is, okay, so we're not same human beings as we were 50 years ago because they have a new consciousness. This new generation growing up and the level of consciousness looks totally different compared to when people are growing up. Are you feeling for that? So I'm feeling, so here it became really clear how the old model, the old school of how we were doing things, solving problems, which was the base of science, to clean out all metaphysics and make the science with big S something that we could search for. And that was in, say, also looking for problems. And I'm thinking we're entering a new era here. We will see a new kind of science looking for possibilities instead of solving problems, looking for possibilities. And it's a whole new way of language and being, and new methodologies must be part of that, I think.
Thank you very much, Maria. And I would like to end this with a surprise. I didn't bring a jar, but I see a cup over there. So if you can write your names very briefly on a piece of paper, I want the name on the jar. I will invite you to pick a name, and the name that is picked, I will be quite happy to give a complimentary reading via Skype once I get back to England. It's my way to thank you for coming to my session. I really appreciate your attention, your focus, and your presence. And it was great to share with you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I want all the names in a cup.
Just name. Just name. Oh, not an email address? Do you need the email address?
You need name and an email address or something?
No, they may I can take it once I give my card. They may I can give it later because then I don't give my card.
Yeah.
Of course.
I can do it.
Okay, so here we go. Everybody here? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose one, and then I will give you my card, and you can get in touch with me, okay? So, right? 1, 2, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. So, who is this person? Susie. Wow. There you go. That's so excellent. So, Susie, we exchange emails, okay? When I get back to England, because obviously here in the conference is not the right environment, but I will be super happy to give you a session on Skype, complimentary, so we can. Only Skype is okay because I can see the client. There is a connection. No, but I cut the cards and they choose it. So Susie, thank you for that. That's good. I hope you will enjoy. And I really appreciate this. I really hope you got something out of this. Okay, for to reflect on your practices, to go out there and make changes because the work we do as a psychic is important. As you see, people respond more to psychics than to psychotherapy. I have been saying this, and I think Maria's session is evidence that that happens. Okay, of course. Questions?
It's fascinating because in India, I think psychoanalysis is just psychotherapy is just coming in the last maybe 2 decades. We send out people for psychotherapy. Otherwise, we were all into Ayurvedic chakra healing, and it was accepted that we are not just physical and mental entities. We have energy, and that has to be attended to. And we all, at least my stage of life, we all went through with our grandmothers doing Ayurveda, and today I do chakra healing after going through all these mental and physical doctors who just charge a whole lot of money and leave you worse than when you began. So I completely am happy that it's going to be coming in, and I do these tarot cards on astrology from a Western writer who gives it online, and he has tarot readings for my age and time. So it's fascinating. I'm so happy, and I really wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Any more questions?
I don't have a question, but a comment.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's hear it. So,
I just love that you are building bridges between therapy and tarot card reading or psychics. I think it's really, really valuable. And what we did in Sweden was an organization for certifications for tarot readers, and it's a Scandinavian organization. And I think all these trades, psychotherapy, coach, psychics, needs to be, I don't know how to say this in English. They need to be professional, and it's a process, and I think subject. So I want to thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, so maybe this is the time for us to end, but the end is never the end. We both continue in our journeys, and I hope to be here next year. Thank you. Thank you so much for facilitating this.
Thank you, Michelle. It was an engagement and if you allow me, I would like to say that this gap is not only a professional gap, I think it's also a prejudice gap. The psychotherapy has built itself up as a science, and the psyche actually has a long, long history of shamanism, and it has a lot of power, so there is a lot of antagonism there and a lot of prejudices. And I think to bridge these prejudices is very precious in itself, not only for the profession. Thank you.
So true.
You're ready?
Yes.
Where's the camera? So what we want to indicate is I don't know where he is. So anybody, can you just grab that mobile and make a picture from the ladies?
Yes? Yeah. So 3 cheers for WAF and the women. So look in the lens, everyone.
Yes.
This lens.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Instantly.
वीडियो हाँ वीडियो नहीं जा वीडियो में हाँ सिस्टम में ना फिल्म में भेजा हो गया आना तो यहाँ वाले कहाँ हैं अरे भाई तो स्टूडियो वाले हैं ना यहाँ वाले कहाँ हैं भैया ये सर क्या बोल रहे हैं ये तो स्टूडियो वाले हैं तो बहुत देर से बाहर स्टूडियो कर रहे थे जरूरत मुझे क्या बोलिए वो नहीं पता यार और इनका
Did you like the presentation? Yes, it was very nice. And also because yes, they had to. I have only my hand. No, but I have
बन गया भाई